welcome to Clamp, the weekly podcast where we discuss all things related to creating, living, and making projects. And that's what Clamp stands for, if you didn't know. I'm the host, Grant Alexander, and joining me as always is Adam Mackey and Jessy Radfink. And Jessy Rink. She's just
Your voice just did the thing my face does all the time. It's great.
Yeah,
we match.
Yeah. Well, if you want to know about what she's referencing, you got to go listen to the pre-show. But today we have, Adam was talking earlier. He's going to be taking his kids camping, and he's been looking for fun things to take his, I think they're elementary, like junior kindergarten, senior kindergarten, preschool aged kids.
Yeah, preschool and year 2. So what, like the third grade of primary school, whatever that would be over there.
First grade. And he's 7?
Yes.
Yeah, first grade. So he was thinking of different maker-related projects he could do. And then we were asking for topics in the Discord. And Dave from Bauer Art gave us a topic, and he thought we should talk about what creative maker skills should they teach in school. And he wanted us to break it down by the different grades, basically being like preschool, which will go like, from the day they're born until we call them junior kindergarten and senior kindergarten here. And then from there's elementary, which is like grade 1, which is like an 8-year-old. So 8-year-olds to people in grade 6, which is 8 plus 6, whatever that works out to. Middle school. 14. Yeah, 14? Okay. Really? No, 12.
Oh, yeah, I'm bad at math. Oh, no. See, I told you my brain's broken.
What?
8?
That's 8 plus 6, 12. It's 14. You were right.
It is 14, right? Okay. I'm not 14? As bad as I thought. I'm not as bad as I thought.
So then maybe it's like 7-year-olds, 6 and 7-year-olds. Anyways, to 12-year-olds. Grade 6 is 12-year-olds. And then middle school, which is grade 7 and 8. And that's when like we'll probably get into like people actually using tools. That's usually traditionally when they were introduced, and we'll get into that a little bit. And then obviously high school, and perhaps we'll talk a little bit about post-high school before your prefrontal cortex is fully developed and where you might want to focus your creative maker skills. And Dave suggested that the person with the least amount of kids needs to go first. So we're going to start this all off with Jessy in preschool. What are some great preschool ideas for maker or creative skills?
So I guess we can't count my pets as children then. Damn. So for preschool, I have never really worked with kids that young, but based on what I see from all the teachers I follow online, that seems to be a good time to work on like motor skills, colors, that sort of stuff. I know that a really big thing right now is you put, like paint in a Ziploc bag on a piece of paper, and then they can squish it with their hands and mix colors.
It's got a video on that.
Making a mess. Yeah.
I was my first Instructables contest I entered, and I got an honorable mention.
That's true. Yeah.
Or maybe even got third place. I don't know.
I'd forgotten. Yeah, I always just think of like the simple stuff, just sort of building things without tape or glue, just stacking stuff, working with colors, working with small pieces. Like I remember making a lot of like pasta necklaces and stuff when I was that age, So I don't know. It's hard to think of stuff for kids that are that little because my brain tends to go like right to really making something,
So we do a lot of cardboard crafts with my son, but the problem is in order for cardboard crafts to kind of come together, you need to glue them. And if you really want to do it in any efficient way, you end up using hot glue. And he's not quite ready for the hot glue gun. Because
most kids aren't, I don't think.
No,
I'm not. Like 34 years old and I still don't know how to use it without burning myself.
Right. So we can either get like the dollar store version, which like barely gets hot enough to squeeze out the glue, which is like frustrating, or you get like the one that I have that like attaches to Milwaukee batteries, and it is so hot that I actually turn it off. Like I cycle it myself because I find it gets too hot.
Wow. That's kind of impressive, honestly.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I agree. But I was like, I wish I had a temperature dial. Anyways, all that to say, the cardboard crafts are a lot of fun in trying to get them into the maker skills, and that can help with them fine motor skills because we either get them to cut sometimes depending on the stuff, or we just get him to draw it out so that we can follow his cutting lines.
So here's a question. At what point do you introduce scissors to a child? I'm not entirely sure when that
My
would
child is 3 and he uses scissors.
Okay.
Yeah. Does he use
Supervised,
the
obviously.
sharp scissors or the
Yeah, he uses
scissors
sharp
that only
scissors.
cut paper, and then they never cut paper after the first time you use them?
He uses the same scissors that I use.
Yeah. So my kid, I got a 20-month-old. He is not ready for scissors. So I'll put that out there. So it's sometime between now, like 2 and 3.
Yeah.
I just want to check a couple of things before we go too far into this, because we do have Aussie listeners and I'm already a bit confused. So preschool for you is part of the big school?
No. So I'm grouping them together with preschool because I feel like they're like junior kindergarten, senior kindergarten, like ages 4 and 5 up to age 6, depending on when you start and when your birthday is voluntary.
Yes, same
Grade
here.
1 is mandatory.
Yeah.
So I'm putting that all together because I feel like anything before grade 1, their abilities are limited.
Oh, wait, no, I misunderstood. So we have, like, you got daycare, and then I think my son next year starts preschool by choice. He doesn't have to do it, but that's like that's like 4 and up. And then your first day of school is kindergarten. So you do kindergarten, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is primary school, and then 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 is high school.
Right.
Oh.
So you generally start kindergarten when you're about 5. My son started when he was 5.5. So yeah, so he'll 5.5. He's there for 7 years, and then he goes to high school for 6 years. But you can leave high school when you're in year 10. When you finish year 10, you're allowed to leave high school as long as you have a job.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
that's very different.
Yeah.
In Canada, we have a junior and senior kindergarten, and they're both optional, but most people, it's like free daycare because you already paid your taxes. So that is, and before that, you can do preschool, which is it's like a daycare.
It's like daycare, but with set times.
It's like daycare, but like they try and teach them something. Whereas like daycare, you're just
daycare is not allowed here.
Not allowed to teach.
They're not allowed to teach. They're allowed to give the kids. It's the stupidest thing. So they can give the kids coloring in and the utensils to do that. They can't tell them how to do it. They can't say, color in here, try and stay in the lines. They can't say any of that. They can just tell them, here's some pencils and coloring in, go to town. They're not allowed to actually instruct them at all. It's the stupidest thing. But preschool they are.
Right.
So anyway, back to
grade. So your preschool is our junior kindergarten, and
probably
then your year 1 is our senior kindergarten, or your kindergarten is our senior kindergarten. So my son's 5, and he's going into senior kindergarten. He will turn 6 February.
Yeah. Okay. So my son's 7 and he's in year 2, which I suppose would be your year 1.
Year 2.
Yeah.
I am tempted to tell y'all the American version, but it's going to be worse.
Don't you have like 4 different? Don't you go through like 4 different schools or something?
Yes. So typically preschool is separate. Kindergarten through grade 5 is elementary. 6 through 8 is middle school. 9 through 12 is high school for us. So yeah, we're working with 3 different scales here, which is.
Do you actually change schools 3 times?
Yes. Yep. I did. I had to ride the same bus, but then get on another bus.
That's so dumb. So you become bottom of the school 3 times then.
Yep.
So it's like for us, you kindergarten, you're the new ones at the school, and then year 7, you're the new ones of high school. So you got to do that 3 times. That sucks.
Yep. So when I went to school, it was junior kindergarten to grade 8 was in the same school, and 9 to 12 was high school, no middle school. In Ottawa, where I live now, some have middle school, the middle school is part of the high school, and some apparently go to grade 8. So it's like it depends. Most of them seem to be trending towards grade 6 is the top.
I'm assuming we're all talking about like public school system, right? Because here a lot of private schools are kindergarten all the way through 12.
Right. Yeah, fuck private
I don't want to talk
about public schools.
Okay, well, so we've all talked about that a little bit too much. And that is boring the hell out of our
So back to the topic where I just wanted to get that out of the way. So I just wanted to say, so my son is in daycare. A lot of the things they do is like building blocks and all that sort of stuff. And then we do library every Thursday. We go to our local library and they do craft. And it's like they give him like the other day they gave him a fish that folds in half to make a card because it's Father's Day this weekend. And he had to cut out the fish, color it in, and stick like confetti and stuff to it. So like that to me is a lot trying to get them thinking of like how to do stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, really, when the scissors come into play, I feel like I can think of a lot more stuff. Because, I mean, paper crafts for kids are just so useful. There's so much that you can do with that because, you know, of course, it's going to give you better motor skills, drawing, and learning about combining colors and that sort of thing. But then also making 3D items with the paper is kind of one of my favorite things. I wish I could remember the name of them, but it's basically a 3D model laid out flat. So you can then sort of string, like you basically punch holes in all the like flaps and you'll like pull it together and it'll form a box. I wish I could remember what those are called. There's a name, but I'm like going completely blank. But those are one of my favorite ones just because like learning about that blew my mind when I was little, you know, just because it's, I don't know, I never really thought of paper as anything more than like paper mache or drawing or painting or something. And then seeing that, it was like, oh, that's so cool.
It's definitely cool to like see their minds go from a 2D object can become 3D, right?
Yep.
Like that really opens up their minds on, and I think that's a big thing with learning creative and maker related stuff. Like even just like folding a piece of paper back and forth, make it go, you know, scrunchy. I don't know what to call it, springy legs or something on. That's always what it was for me, is that you do that and then that'd become the legs for something, right? Or making a paper airplane. It's a really great example.
Yep.
Because you could show them different ways of making paper airplanes and why one works better than the other, and like extra folds or different folds, or, you know, like curling up one edge of the thing makes it go in circles. Always fun.
Curling paper with like scissors. Did y'all ever do that?
Yeah.
Oh man,
Or
that is so
ribbon.
satisfying. I just thought about that and was like, oh, I love doing that.
So with my son, and this is the last of my experience, because once we get into elementary school, he's not there yet. But I feel like giving him the tools like Hot Wheels tracks and seeing what he comes up with and allowing him to get inspiration from YouTube has been a big thing, because I feel like giving him access to other people making has really like increased his like imagination when it comes to what is possible. The Hot Wheels channel actually has a YouTube channel that's really good, other than the fact that it's all reposts, just repost after repost, which is like frustrating. It's like, oh, new YouTube video, and I like go there and I'm like, no, we've already watched that one, Hot Wheels, come on. But they do have some like created content about using the track to like do, what's that like machine where like a whole bunch of stuff happens, like it bonks something and then
Rube Goldberg.
Yeah, a
Goldberg machine.
So they have that with Hot Wheels track basically, which is really fun and that kind of stuff. So you can get really creative with the Hot Wheels track that way, which has opened up his mind to different things. And we like turned off the basement lights with the Hot Wheels. So we did a track that like ended with hitting the light switch.
Especially like since Hot Wheels brought out the camera car and like the GoPro car and stuff.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Oh, I didn't even know about that. That's cool.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I have one. I've posted a bunch of videos with it.
I just don't pay enough attention to videos.
Hey, I got the camera from a patron and the camera car from a new patron, which is pretty cool. Yeah, I got the camera from Underdog Designs and I got the camera car from Brad. I'm going to make. And and my son loves them and he is constantly asking to use the camera car. And I'm constantly telling him no, because he just like throws stuff, like, you know, he's a kid. He's hard on stuff. He throws stuff around. And I'm like, I only have one camera car. I don't want this thing getting wrecked. Like all the axles on all of our cars are bent. So.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
So I actually feel like this whole episode could just be on like below 5 years old, because I'm thinking now of the amount of things that I have that I grew up with or that my kids have now that are made for under 5 that is gateway into making. Like, do you know what Mobilo is? Mobilo?
Yes.
Yeah. So like Mobilo when I was growing up, and now they essentially have like what's kind of like 2D versions of Mobilo. So like instead of being like two squares together, it's like a flat squares, but it's got magnets in it and it all magnets together. My kids constantly are building like magnet towers and
Yes, I have seen those and played with those. Yes, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's like those. And then you've also got like under 5, you've got Mega Blocks. So like the big version of Lego and stuff. Like the amount of construction toys that are out there. We never had what's those Lincoln logs?
Lincoln Logs. That's a very, very
never had that
thing. No.
But yeah, like even that though, like that gets them into like woodworking essentially.
Right. So my son is constantly asking to make a rickety bridge, which is basically like a skewer. I think he saw one time where someone made like skewer sticks to like you combine them together and like use the tension of them to make a bridge.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Which is like a very complex thing that like a 5-year-old definitely cannot handle. But I was thinking of like doing it with scouts and having the 5 to 8-year-olds, 5 to 7-year-olds, whatever, getting together to try and make bridges out of material where you do like styrofoam balls and you skewers and you poke them together to try and make a structure. Apparently, and this is like the funny thing, is that they give these experiments to like see who can make the tallest tower, right? And they give it's like a team building activity. I've done it at work. Who can make the tallest tower in a certain amount of time with a certain same material? And kids outperform adults all the time because kids like it breaks and they just try something different.
Yeah.
Yep.
And adults get 100% stuck in one mindset, which is exactly what my kids do. So I don't think like it's not true for my kids, but it might be true for other kids. But my kids are just one track mind and that's it. It's like me. But it's one of those things where I go, that would be a great, like, see who can build the biggest tower. Kids love competition.
Yeah.
So I think like even if they don't like losing, but they love the competition. So I think that's, if you want to make them creative or have maker skills, you got to introduce challenge.
Yeah. Well, those magnetile things, we've got them with. They've got I don't know what you'd call them. Like it's like half a tunnel, but they're different shapes and stuff. And essentially, you make a marble run.
Oh yeah.
With it, it's just So like my son just loves doing that, and then my 3-year-old comes along and destroys it. But so fighting ensues. But it's it's actually crazy. Like I never really thought about how much stuff there is for kids to make stuff with, like creativity for kids. I mean, I suppose that's the whole point, right? Like the whole point is to get kids to be creative. Like everything they do is to make them create things with their mind. So,
and we'll move on a little bit and go a little bit older. If your kids are a certain age, Kids Invent Stuff actually do a little like they have a little sign up thing that you can do like a weekly make and creative. And it's for kids of lots of different ages. And they kind of think I don't know, I only signed up for my 5-year-olds. So they might have different things for older ones too that they email you about, but you can sign up there. And I think that's one of the things that's pretty crazy about today's world is that you can just sign up online and get like a weekly email of fun activities you can do with your kids. And I have a bunch of like books that I bought that are all about, making, and like one's like the Geek Dad Makes, and another one's like Forest School. So it's like things you can do out in the thing. Like making a bow and arrow is a fun thing to do with a 5-year-old because whatever they make with their little like shoelace bow and arrow is not going to be great, right? It's not going to be able to it might be able to poke an eye out if you're stupid, but like the arrows that they're going to make aren't going to be great. The bow that they're going to make is going to be pretty crappy. The shoelace isn't a proper, or paracord isn't a great bowstring, but they get to fire a little like arrow. And I think it's a really cool idea to do. By the way, that's something for you, Adam, to consider.
Yeah.
Bring a little bit of paracord, get them to find a little bow shaped thing. And
yeah, that's a really good idea. I'm going to write that on my list.
There you go.
Well,
I have a list of what I need to pack for tomorrow.
One of the only things I know about children is they love projectiles. So yes, the bow sounds great.
True.
They love anything that can cause destruction or pain. They love.
Yeah, we get so many projects like barely finished Instructables from like kids under 10 who are just like, I made this thing and you shoot it and it hurts your brother. And it's just like, oh, okay.
Well, did you a little bit off topic, but did you guys make paper wasps when you were young?
No, what's
what that is?
Wasp?
So you get a piece of paper and you fold it up like really small, but so it's really layered. You get a rubber band between two fingers and then fold it in half and you pull it back like a slingshot and shoot it. Those things hurt so bad.
Yeah.
But
I've never heard of them called paper wasp, but I definitely did that. So
it stings like a wasp, but it's paper.
Yeah. Well, a paper wasp is a type of wasp. So that's probably why we don't call it that.
Right.
Yeah, because that's the first thing I thought of.
I don't know. I feel like I had something to say, but I don't remember.
Well, if we want to go a little bit older, There are a few products that I see all the time in middle schools that are really, really big. Spiro is one that I see all the time. It's like a little robot ball, and kids can program it to move around. It can complete mazes. It can do all this stuff. They're fantastic. Another one is Make Do. They're the cardboard fasteners that they're like blue and very easy to use. I think they even have cutting tools for cardboard too. But they are folks that I love because it's just like making all sorts of cool stuff out of cardboard. Everything you can think of, they make it out of cardboard and post videos with kids. They have a really great Instagram account. I'm trying to think. Makey is another one. It's sort of like a simple microcontroller that you can. The big example that they always show is basically plugging it with like alligator clips, onto like fruit or whatever, and then you can play the fruit. Like, I don't know. Once it gets to like middle school and they're a little bit older, I'm just like, throw all the tech at them because they absorb it so well. They learn so fast. It's just amazing to see what kids can do.
What was that last one you said? Make Mackie.
Make do.
No, makey.
Oh,
yeah.
makey. Yeah.
Make it Mackie. Yeah,
makey.
That's what I thought you said.
Yeah, you're a kid's toy now.
Yeah. Well, I am actually.
Yeah. I thought about that after I said it. You are a jungle gym for your kids, probably. So,
Exactly.
okay, you are technically.
At what point do you think it's appropriate to introduce power tools into this discussion?
Depends on the tool.
More high school.
What do you consider?
But yeah.
Nope. We're gonna. Jessy is the first because she doesn't have any kids, so we need that perspective first.
Okay. Yeah.
So, I think high school. Like that was when I was in school, we actually started using them, and just based on the amount of time I've worked with middle school kids, I don't know that I would trust them with a saw or a drill. So yeah, I think I'm going to stick with high school.
All right. So high school is like 14-year-olds.
Yeah, 14 to 18.
Okay. Yeah.
Right. So with supervision, what do you consider a power tool though? Because a drill driver is a power tool, but I would feel confident that my 7-year-old could use it. He probably wouldn't put enough pressure and he'd probably just spin the bit. But I feel like I would definitely feel confident in him being able to use that. Using a drill with a sharp bit, maybe not.
That's fair.
Okay. I have given my 5-year-old a drill driver to use, and he definitely didn't put enough pressure. But if I put the pressure, he can do it.
Mm-hmm.
Like I put my hand.
My 3-year-old pulls the trigger all the time for me. But in terms of an actual like power tool that could harm someone, so this is where like a stationary tool like a scroll saw, I feel like my 5-year-old could do a scroll saw if he wanted to. He'd need to be into it. Right? Yeah.
But it's the same. Like,
my 7-year-old did. I've got a video on it.
Yeah.
He was 5 at the time.
Yeah. But I feel like my particular 5-year-old is not interested enough in actually doing the cutting. He is interested in the idea of it. So
I know what you mean.
I think a 5-year-old could be with supervision at a good age to start introducing them to power tools. Like when my son was 3, he could name every single tool in my garage. Like I would take him out there and I'd be like, "What's this?" And he's like, sander. And I'll be like, "What's this?" He's like, "Miter saw." "What's this?" "Router table." And I'd be like, "Yeah, that's great." I was like, "What's this?" And he's like, "Table saw." I'm like, "No, that's the bandsaw." Idiot. No. But no, yeah. At 3, he could definitely name them all. So I think at 5, he could start seeing how they work. And I think at 7 is a good time to start like allowing them to use them without your hands on their hands.
Yeah. I feel like I should clarify. I'm thinking kids with a teacher. I wasn't thinking kids with parents,
right.
Because, at home it's always easier, but when you have 30 crazy children, it's a lot scarier.
Right. So my mother was the first woman or first girl, I guess, because she was that age that you call them girls, not women. First girl in all of Ontario to take shop class. Wow. Instead of home ec. And shop class at that time was offered to grade 7, which would be 14 or 15. No, sorry, 12.
12, yeah.
12 or 13. And so at 12, she was on the lathe turning bowls.
Wow.
Yeah, that's wild.
And there's I have a picture of it. And of course, the teacher's wearing a tie. You're just like, he's got it tucked into his thing, but he's still wearing a tie. And I'm like, ties on lathes. You should if any teacher, because it was probably the expectation you're a teacher, you have to wear a tie at that time period. But any teacher should be able to get out of the tie wearing business. Is the shop teacher for sure.
Yep.
That's probably my number one rule now is no loose clothing and in school short.
No, like you can look if you look back in the 70s and 60s, everyone had ties on working in these places, and they had
I'm talking about now.
Right, but now it's like the problem is people just got they weren't very good at keeping their ties tucked in. They're not very good at keeping other things tucked in either. But so I think that gets us into middle school, and I agree. Middle school is a time where middle school to early high school is a time where more power tools can be opened up. And I think that really helps with opening up people's creative and maker skills.
Mm-hmm.
And
middle school starts at what age?
So middle school is 12. High school is 14.
So high school for us would be 11, 12. And that is when shop class is first available to us.
Right.
I'm trying to think. I'm too old. I'm trying to think back of when I first did shop class, what we were allowed to do. I feel like we weren't allowed to use power tools in year 7.
Maybe a drill driver, but that's it.
Don't even think we really had those.
I remember using a drill driver, with a drill with a screwdriver bit in it, and that was the only thing we were allowed to use. And otherwise, it was the painful fucking screwing something in by hand.
I honestly, I'm probably wrong, but I could not remember ever using a drill with a screwdriver bit in school. A drill was for holes only, and then everything was hand screwed. And even actually, now I think back, I'm pretty sure in year 7 and 8, all drilling holes that we did had to be done with an egg beater drill.
Oh, interesting. I think in grade 7 and 8, we just weren't holes were not a thing. You couldn't do them. But we had saws, and I did in grade 6, we had a teacher who had a wood shop in his class until he got cancer and blah, blah, blah. I've talked about it before. And we had the little miter block things and hand saws, and you could cut the wood and make things. I remember doing that. I made a boat. I made a slingshot for pencils. I made not a slingshot, crossbow for pencils. I remember making a couple other fun things, but a picture frame or something that broke immediately. But yeah, no power tools, only hand tools. I remember he cut himself real bad with a knife one day.
No.
It was just he was a constant whittler, and he whittled his thumb right off, pretty much.
Oh.
It was down to the bone. Yeah.
Mm. Whittling injuries are so fucking scary. Oh my God, they can be so deep. They scare me so bad.
Because you got to use a sharp knife for whittling.
Mm-hmm.
Right. What age do you think it's appropriate to give your kid a knife? Because I think a knife is as a tool and not as a killing machine, but a knife is a tool, or a Swiss Army knife. Bob Claggett from I Like to Make Stuff just put out a video where he was talking about the importance of giving people your kids these types of tools at a young age and teaching them about it. And he talked about his little collection of knives from when he was a kid. I carry around with me my Swiss Army knife that I got as a kid, which if you're watching the YouTube video, you can see it now on my keychain. But it's at what point is it appropriate to give someone a knife to be used as a tool with the proper guidance?
So this might just be because I'm redneck as hell, but when I was growing up, kids in elementary school all had pocket knives. And I definitely bought one at a Tater Day fair or something. I definitely had one when I was little. And I think that's fine. Knives, small pocket knives, I'm never really worried about it. They're never super sharp, and they're short enough that it can't do too much damage. So yeah, I think late elementary school, early middle school.
So I would say you're saying a 10-year-old's good time to have a knife?
I don't know ages with grades.
Right. Well, okay. So that's what late 10 to 14 is a good time. I think that's about the right time to introduce a Swiss Army knife to your kid. I agree. It depends on your kid too. I think my kid who enjoys camping is likely to have a knife sooner. Mm-hmm. Hey, what is that one? What model is that?
I don't know. It looks exactly the same as yours.
Yeah. Is it an outpost? Does it say outpost on the other side?
Doesn't say it on there.
No, this is fun.
I don't know where my leather man is. I was going to flash it, but I can't find it.
Oh, this one?
What?
Oh, see, I have a smaller orange one. It's not as huge as that one. Wow.
So there's an art washing YouTube. It's got a saw.
Yeah, I got that one too. Is it a Leatherman?
Yeah.
Or is it a
Leatherman Super Tool 300?
Nice. So all that for the listeners at home, we were comparing knives. I think Adam and I might have the same knife.
I think we do. Mine doesn't say Outpost, but it's probably just a
What
different.
tools does it have in it?
It's got the big knife.
Yep.
It's got a little knife.
Yep.
Pair of scissors.
Oh, I don't have the scissors. That's why I like mine. No scissors.
Okay. It's got a weird
Scissors
bottle
are
opener
kind of
with a
useless.
flathead screwdriver.
Yep, got that.
Another bottle opener with a bigger flathead screwdriver, and then the other side's
Yep.
got a corkscrew. This
And an awl.
I don't know what this weird tool is.
It's an awl.
Is it an awl's like the weird knife one, right?
So it's for drilling. You can drill with this.
Ah,
And
that's
you
good
can
to know.
sew.
And then
You can sew with it.
what's next to that?
That's all I have. You have one extra
so
set of
di-
tools.
I have one extra thing. Oh, it's a hook thing.
Oh, I don't know what
I
that's
don't
for.
know what it's actually for.
Yeah. So yours isn't the
Oh.
same as mine. Yours is like slightly bigger.
And then like
Yes.
toothpick and tweezers.
I love the tweezers. Definitely
Same.
pulled some splinters with the tweezers. I use the toothpick all the time now.
Same.
Yeah, I use it all the time. There's no more giving out toothpicks anymore. And I'm like out there and I've got like something stuck in my teeth and I'm like, I just need to use a toothpick. I use it all the time. So give your kids a knife. Go watch the Bob I Like to Make Stuff video. He talks about why it's important and he can express it better than I can. That's why he's got so many more viewers than I. But go check that out.
Before you quickly move away from knives for kids, Mr. Scout Leader, what age do the kids get a knife in Scouts?
So I only have been looking at the beavers, which is you cannot give a beaver scout, which is age 5, 6, and 7. They're not able to handle knives or axes.
Right.
So I think Cub Scouts, which is the next, which I think a Wolf Scout or something that they call them in America, the age 8 and above, I think they can handle an axe or a knife with supervision.
Right.
I think I need to look into it more. And then
Because I feel like they would have done a lot of research into what age would be safest for that.
right. So if you were to I don't know if they've done a lot of research, but it comes with responsibilities and sharp. So if you get your sharp objects badge or whatever it is, it's one of the few that can be taken away.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay.
I suppose by research I mean more of incident reports.
Yeah.
Experience.
They have more experience with it for sure. Yeah, it's one of the very few that can be taken away, and then you can, you've lost your privilege for that.
Right.
All right,
What else
let's
can
go
be
into
taken
high
away?
school. Let's talk about high school. I think at high school, I think at that point, everything, all the time.
Yes. I honestly, so when I was in high school, from the South, really fucking gendered, girls didn't take shop class. So I took home economics and I didn't learn, but I used a sewing machine in there, like used the oven, shit like that, But God, I would really like to see all high schoolers just know how to work every power tool, or at least like a drill and like a saw, because I have so many friends whose parents were not, they weren't big into making stuff. They didn't do anything by themselves. They'd always call people. And then when they move out on their own, I was always the person who had to come over and help them with whatever because they didn't know how to use the tool or they didn't know how to do something simple. Like, I don't know that it needs to be a shop class, but there just needs to be something.
I think there should be a mandatory home, like DIY, or just even like home. What do you need to know to live in a home?
Yeah.
Like simple stuff like people don't know how to change a light bulb. People don't know how to change a furnace filter. People don't know how to there's so small things that you just go, these are very simple. And it's like a one lesson thing. You take the thing out, you put the other thing in. It's not very difficult, right? But like changing a broken light bulb, you don't see it as much anymore as you used to.
Mm-hmm.
But like the potato and the light bulb to change it, it's a great
Oh, have you
tip
never had to
know
do
about.
that?
I don't even know what a furnace feels. Actually, I don't even know what a furnace is.
Of course you don't,
Like heating.
Mr. Australia.
So here in Australia, from what I can remember, there's nothing we have that is to teach you like living life.
Yeah,
we
life
don't
skills.
have life skills. We do. There's like cooking. You can do like cooking classes and stuff, but it's optional. You can do like music optional, art optional, all that sort of stuff. We don't do driver's ed or anything like that. There's there's nothing mandatory to teach you life skills. It's all like how to write a poem and how to answer maths questions you're never going to use and like stupid shit.
So
there's no how to do your taxes.
I'm going to digress a bit and talk about how to do your taxes and why I think it's the stupidest fucking thing that people complain about. How to do your taxes, how to look at a thing and it says, what is the number on your form that you got from your job, and input that number over here. It's literally fucking copy paste everywhere.
Yeah.
There's no math involved in your taxes. So shut the fuck up and do your
Unless you're
fucking
American.
taxes.
Unless you're American.
I can take it. I can take it further. I can take it further.
There's no math anymore, and it's all addition and subtraction.
It's not even that anymore. So when I do my tax, I literally log in. I go to whatever I have to do to lodge my tax, and everything's already pre-filled. Like my work is already sent through how much I earned, how much tax I paid, and it's already all there. I don't even have to copy and paste anymore.
Right. So even before that, and I get what you're going to say about America, but it's all addition and subtraction. There's no real math to it. If you can add and subtract, you can do your taxes.
Okay, but what you are failing to consider here is that we have made ours extremely complicated. And if you have anything that is not just a standard job, you have to figure out different forms and match a bunch of stuff up. And that's something that no one knows how to do unless
but
you've
it's
been
not
forced to do it yourself.
But it's not teachable.
No. It's not
This
teachable.
is the thing. Like when they talk, I don't know how to do my taxes. Everyone complaining online about, I don't know how, they didn't teach me how to do my taxes. I'm like, yeah, you got one form. I don't know what we call it, a T4. You guys probably have a different name for it.
W4.
It's like that, yeah,
or
W4.
W2, one of those, yeah.
Right. So you have one form, and you give, and that's why people go to HR Block and they give them that one form, and HR Block in 10 seconds has it done because it's literally copy pasting one info from another. Right? I get there are complex.
If doing your taxes was taught in school. If doing your taxes was taught in school, then there would be so many people out of a job right now.
No, there wouldn't, because people don't they don't want to math.
Yeah.
Now, I get you own your own business. It is a complex matter, right? If you own your own business and you're a maker, contact Christy from Twisted Twine. She's got her own, she's starting a maker tax business. And she's like an accountant or whatever. So contact her, especially if you're in the United States, and she will give you some advice. Or maybe even, I think Chris Powell has hired her to do his taxes. Chris Powell from Full Steam Design. So, yeah. But the things that they would teach you in school is basic accounting principles, which is literally like boring shit for most people.
2
and
plus
that's
2
why,
is 4.
Right, but it's like
and like
inputted
balancing
into
a
here.
checkbook too. Like I was taught that in high school.
Who the fuck uses a checkbook anymore?
Right.
See? Yeah, like it's all sort of obsolete at this point.
Do you know what they should teach in school? How to get money out of an ATM without your fucking card. Stupid fucking banks. No, you can't. That's what pisses me off. They want to make this digital age and you can't access your own fucking money.
All right. So, we'll rein it back in a little bit, and I think
what a fucking tangent.
Once you get to high school, I think the making skills should be really opened up to just about anything that you are capable of doing. By that, I mean there are lots of high school kids that were not capable.
So, just quickly, with your curriculum, I'm assuming you get to choose your classes when you get into high school or whatever.
Some of them, yeah.
Yeah. So what maker classes are there? Because we had industrial technology, which is more like engineering. But then we had engineering studies, woodworking, metalworking, and construction. And construction was more of like you actually go out and build stuff around the school, like chairs and stuff that they need done. And then you go off and do work experience. And that
sounds so nice. Oh, yeah. I mean, really at the school that I went to, there was shop, but like I said, girls couldn't take it. So I was not allowed to take shop. So I took art because that was really the only thing that I could do. Yeah, art and home ec was like the only thing that the school I had offered. Oh, computer science. I guess we could count that because I did
we had that as well,
a little bit about making like Flash animations because it was that long ago. And like some really like rudimentary CAD stuff. Yeah.
I'm actually curious. So when you say shop, is that everything in one, like metalworking and woodworking? That's not separate?
Yeah, so it's honestly mostly woodworking and then a bunch of dudes bringing their cars in to work on them during school.
That was my next question. So Tokyo Drift, they can't, like they're fixing off their cars and stuff. You can't do that in Australia. There's no mechanic, like there's no working on your car in school.
Oh, interesting. So we had auto shop, which you could take every year.
That would be so good.
Yeah, and I took it, right? And we had access to lifts and everything, and I brought in my car. We replaced all the brake lines on it.
Yeah, that would have
It was
been
great.
awesome. I would have
That'd be
loved to do
amazing.
that in high school because that was something that I had to teach myself when I moved away from home. It was all the random car shit I needed to know, I just didn't have any knowledge before I left.
Yeah. So I definitely I feel like I don't feel like I learned a lot there, and I just don't know why. But I feel like it helped doing the stuff, but I feel like I didn't learn the basics. I don't know if they just didn't do a good job teaching it to me or something. But I wasn't paying attention, which is very possible. So I did auto shop. I did all of them. I literally did every single one. To answer your question, there was an electronics class. You did breadboards and stuff, and you learned about AND gates and OR gates and NOR gates and all that fun stuff.
Mhm.
We did a technology class where you learned about different technology. And that's where I came up with my bright idea of regenerative braking that I wish I'd patented in grade 9, and now is a thing on every single electric car.
Yeah, I was about to say, yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't. I get it. I just came up with it because I had an electric car that couldn't race a 5-minute thing, and I was like, well, every time that I'm off throttle, it's braking. That should be fed back into the thing instead of not being. Anyway, that's what they do now, and it makes sense. It's common sense, and someone's making a lot of money off of it. So we had that. I also did vacuum forming with
Whoa,
vacuum forming Lexan and stuff. It was pretty cool.
Yeah.
In that class.
That's amazing.
We had a woodworking class where we got to use all I remember using a giant planer. It must have been a 20-inch wide planer. I feel like we must have used a jointer if we used the planer. I don't remember us being able to use the table saw. And if we did, maybe we did have a table saw, but it was an auto power feed table saw. You just put it into the thing and it took it and power fed it through whatever you set it to. It automatically power fed the lumber through, which is actually kind of cool. That makes it a lot safer for idiots like half the fucking potheads who were in my class. We had, if you took auto, you could also specialize in welding and body work, which I didn't do.
That was metalworking for us.
Yeah. So we didn't have a special metalworking, but we definitely had people who were doing metalworking in the thing, and we had a metalworking bandsaw. All the metalworking tools were available in the auto shop, but there wasn't a specialized metalworking thing. We also had computer science.
Sorry, I kicked my bin. So to go on what you're saying about tool usage, I never even knew what what's the jointer? I never even knew what a jointer was until I started watching YouTube. Never even heard of it. Didn't even know it was a thing. So we didn't have that in school. I don't know if they probably have them now, but I feel like they're a big thing now. Table saw, our teacher, even in year 12, even when I was 18 years old, I was not allowed to use a table saw. My teacher had to use it, but I had to set it up to what I need. So I'd have to put the fence to the right dimension or whatever, and then he had to run it through. Handsaw we were allowed to use. I actually had a guy in my class cut his finger off because he wasn't paying attention, which was actually, it was quite funny to see, to be honest, because he cut his finger off and he was too busy talking to someone he didn't even know.
Oh my!
It wasn't until someone said, "Hey, your finger is not attached to you anymore." He looked down and then he was in immense pain.
Oh yeah. Oh man.
Well, you know who's not in immense pain?
Our patrons, hopefully.
Yeah. And I want to especially thank our F-Clamp level patrons, Vincent Ferrari from Digitally Creative, Scott from Dad It Yourself DIY, Joe Herdina, Rich from Lowen Designs, David Wood from DW Wood Builds, and our newest F-Clamp level, Brad from I'm Gonna Make. I want to thank them especially, and everyone else, and everyone else who gives to our patron. We couldn't do this show without you. If you feel like you got $1 worth of value out of our conversation here today, sign up on Patreon. It's that simple. It's $1 per episode. Go there. You get access to a pre-show, after show. There's a Discord hangout. And by the way, anyone can join the Discord. You don't need to be a patron to join. And you can get access to, and you also get a keychain maybe. So head on over to patreon.com/clamp. And now Clamp.
So my CLAMPmendation for this week is an artist. Her name is Josie Lewis. She makes beautiful acrylic art. She does a lot of really intense colors and really neat shapes. A lot of her art is very textured and 3D, and I really love that. Another thing that I really appreciate about her is that she has a story highlight on her Instagram page called Haters, where when people leave her shitty comments, she highlights them there. And I think it's kind of valuable to see that, especially for people who are kind of new and might be feeling a little overwhelmed by the amount of just stupid shit people say to them online. Like, it makes you feel like you're not alone. So yeah, I highly recommend her. Everything she does is absolutely beautiful. And she really makes me want to get into painting again because it just looks so nice the way that she plays with paint.
So I'm watching her haters right now, and there's one where it's like, imagined all the potential that paint had. Growing up thinking it would become a pretty tree on a cloth canvas, but instead it was wasted to create a disgusting brown sludge. I cry. Oh, never mind. I didn't watch it all. So the person later just goes, oh no, I didn't watch it to the end. Oops.
There are a few of those in there.
There's so many people will do that, but
yeah. So yeah,
I thought,
if nothing else, go for the haters story highlight.
Yeah,
I thought for sure your CLAMPmendations would have been Starfield.
Well, I haven't played it yet. That's the thing. So I'm I don't know. I think maybe I also don't want to get my hopes up too much because, as everyone knows, Bethesda games are very buggy, typically when they launch. They are saying that this is the least buggy game they've ever released. So, fingers crossed. But yeah, I don't know yet. Hopefully next week, maybe I can recommend it.
Well, seeing as you didn't, my CLAMPmendation is actually something I haven't seen yet, but I have been looking forward to for so long, and that is the new Gran Turismo movie. The concept, not only is the concept of the movie so freaking cool, it's actually a true story. So they held an event for people that race VR to race, and the winner got to actually be part of the team and race in real life in real cars, which is really it's such a cool idea. But apparently it's a true story. Apparently it actually really happened. They actually held the contest and everything.
It's wild because all I ever think about is just the game, because I think Tyler's played it for hundreds of hours. I can hear the music in my head right now.
I actually don't like the game. I'm so weird. I'm not into racing games where you actually have to race properly. I'm not into the whole, you need to brake in time for the corner. And I'm into Need for Speed, where you just slide around the corners and drive like a dickhead.
And smash into the other cars to make a corner.
Yeah, exactly. Gran Turismo for me was always too technical.
Yeah, well, see,
I loved
he
Gran
loves
Turismo.
that. Oh my god.
Yeah.
I know you. Yeah.
I love Gran Turismo. It was the game. I think I played Gran Turismo when Gran Turismo 1 came out on PlayStation 1. I thought it was amazing graphics. First of all, it wasn't. I've looked back.
No.
But I was like, wow, this blows me away. And buying all the cars, and it was so cool. And I could upgrade the cars. And then I got the cars I had in real life. And I was like, wow, that's amazing. Carbon fiber drive shaft. I need it. $1,000. I'll do it. Awesome.
Yeah, I think that's why Tyler likes it too. The customization and being able to have your car, but in the game,
Yep.
It's all fun. But I'm with Adam. I just want to wreck shit. It's like Grand Theft Auto rules for me at all times when I'm in a car in a game.
Well, that's why I like Forza Horizon, because you can have your car in real life. They've got all the cars and stuff, and you get to have the fun of just doing whatever. It's actually the point of the game is to do whatever, because the challenges are to find all the jumps, all the hidden jumps and stuff. But anyway, I digress.
All right. Well, I think everyone should. So if you're listening to this on the day it comes out on Monday, it is Labor Day, spelled Labour.
OU.
So don't wear white tomorrow.
So yeah, it's Labor Day. And if you have ever wanted a grinder, not the app, but the thing, a 2x72 grinder, then you should go check out housemade.us. And they have a Labor Day sale every year because that is his favorite holiday. And I believe it's about $100 US off a grinder bundle, which if you're buying the grinder, you might as well bundle it up because it's basically free to get the bundle now with that $100 off. So go check them out. Housemade, previous guest on here, Brian House. It is the only. So when I got the metal lathe, I was like, oh, I've got every single tool I need. I don't, because I know one day I'll do my 72, but I know I don't have the money right now to afford it. But one day I'd like to get a 2x72, and if you want to do it cheap, you can get the Housemade one because it's a kit. Yeah. So go check them out.
Alrighty.
Ask us anything.
Yeah. Ask us anything. Yeah.
Did you guys listen last week?
No, I didn't.
I listened, but I guess I did not hear.
I struggled. You didn't give any what's the word? Like you just because you spoke it.
flat.
All I could really do, all I could do was I changed you into 3 different robot voices and then layered all 4 things over the top of each
I'll
other.
have to. I don't know how I missed that because I listened to the whole thing for the notes, but I missed it. I'll have to listen. But yeah, so the Ask Us Anything segment. This week, it's from Dave Bauer Art, and he asks, does a podcast need to have a topic? And since we have kind of discussed this before, I thought, why not do it on the podcast? Do you guys want to go first, or should I?
I'll go first. Well, it depends if you're a topic podcast, really. No, like there's different types of podcasts. I mean, a lot of the podcasts I listen to don't have topics, so my answer is no.
I will contradict you completely and say every single podcast has a topic, whether you think there's a predetermined topic or not. Whatever they're talking about is the topic of the podcast.
Okay.
It's fair.
What about interview podcasts? The topic is the interview.
Yeah.
Yeah, the topic is the person. Yeah.
So in other words, the question isn't does a podcast need a topic? It is does every podcast have a topic?
Right.
Well, see, the way that I think about it, like I like to go into my podcast knowing what I'm getting myself into. So for me, I listen to a lot of science and horror movie podcasts. Like that's pretty much the only thing I do.
Right.
And it's like, it has to be a topic or a film that I'm excited about. And I don't really listen to podcasts where it's just chatting, and they have like kind of vague, weird titles and I don't know what's happening. And like, there's not a good description of the episode. I just always skip those. So yeah, I always feel like it needs to be like structured and have a topic, but I'm sure other people are easier.
Okay. To answer the question, because of the way it's worded, does a podcast need to have a topic?
Mm-hmm.
And the answer is no, does not need it. Would it be better with a topic? Probably. Because the only thing I can think is that podcast without a topic is like I'm listening in on someone's conversation, day-to-day conversation. There's no whatever.
Yeah.
The only, like, you'd have to be super famous for me to care, or super smart for me. Like, I'd love to listen to like a day in the life of Einstein, a 24-hour Einstein, what everything he thought about that day. That would be an interesting podcast. There's no topic to that other than a day in the life of Einstein. I guess I've ruined it. You know what? A podcast always has a topic, whether you like it or not, damn it. Thank you, TF Turning, for the theme song. If you want to find us, you can find us everywhere by searching Clamp Podcast or Clampcast. We're on all the important social medias. If you want and you enjoyed this episode, or you enjoyed the podcast in general and you hated this episode, give us a review. We appreciate them all. If you give us a review, we'll read it on air. We will mention you, and whatever you say, we will read it. If you say, go watch my latest YouTube video, and put that out there, or go follow me on Instagram, we will read those things. So go
Just give us a review, damn it.
Yeah, just damn it.
Do
now
it.
to the after show.
Bye.
Bye.